What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I hope you like this video. This is your review for Family or Fiance Season 2, Episode 2. We have Kim and David. So Kim and David met at work. Now listen, David is a teacher slash coach. Kim is a school counselor. They met at the school where they work. He went to go check on eligibility for some of his student athletes. She was the counselor he had to deal with. He said he was smitten immediately, and he started asking her out on dates. And she kept telling him no because she had to get a babysitter. And so he was thinking she had young children. Like, okay, well, I understand that, He said, then I found out that her kids were 15 and 19. And I'm thinking, who the hell need a babysitter for a 15 and a 19-year-old? Now, in that immediate moment, should have told you something, Mr. David. Either A, she wasn't really trying to go out with you and she was using the kids as an excuse, or she coddles those boys, which is what it seems like it is. Now, let me be clear. Y'all might not like what I'm about to say about this episode. Y'all might not agree with me, and that's fine. But in my opinion, we were dealing with some very spoiled, coddled little boys. And David rolled it. And I'm not saying everything David did was right either. Let's be clear. But I don't put as much of this on David as I think the editing was trying to put on David, because I feel like the editing was really trying to put a lot of this on David, and I don't see it that way. I really don't see it that way. I see it very much as this is have y'all heard the saying that mothers raise their mothers raise their daughters and spoil their sons, something like that. I forgot how it exactly goes, and that's exactly what it is. And I think this is a perfect example of that. It sounds like they had a certain lifestyle in their home prior to David coming into play. And when David came in, he saw things that he didn't like, or he thought were probably, I hate to say it like this because I don't want to use this. I don't want this to be an inflammatory statement, but I think he saw them as maybe being a little soft. And I think he was trying, he's military. He's very much, this is what you do, and this is how things go. And he tried to implement it in that household. And the boys were like, whoa, wait a minute. That's not what this is. And the oldest son being 19, I mean, he was grown. And I'm sure he was really like, who coming in here trying to change? Like, we like the way things are. You don't get to come in here and try to change how this goes and try to change this situation. And then the 15-year-old, again, he was almost grown. And so it was very much a shock. Now, here's where the problem came in. As far as I could see, the communication was not that great between David, Kim, and the kids. Because every time something went down, the kids felt like it was coming from David, and that David and Kim were not on board. Almost like, I guess, he was bullying her into doing it or strong-arming her into doing it. Which we found out later was not necessarily the case. So I got way ahead of myself, but I got to say stuff when I think about it. So Kim, her sister and her two sons are coming. David is his mother, his son, and a cousin. Because David has 5 children. Like, they don't look, let me tell you, this is a true black don't crack. Because they just do not look that old to me, that David has 5 grown children already. You know what I'm saying? But they meet with, Tracy, and their first activities that first night, Kim is going to cook dinner with David's family, and they're going to play 2 Truths and a Lie. And then they're going to play Connect 4 with, well, they call it Connect the Dot. But basically it's Connect 4, and there are going to be questions on the back that, they can answer or whatever. Now, on the way there, the boys are telling Auntie all the things that are going on in the house. And the one thing they said was that he took the doors off the hinges so that they didn't have a door. And the sister, I don't know what it was about that set the sister off, but that totally set her off. Like, she turned that into, and my thing is, that's the first time you've heard that? Like, I've heard of parents doing that all over the place a million times. I have friends who their parents did it to them. Vanessa Williams, former Miss America, Vanessa Williams talked about her mother did that when she was in high school because she was getting a little too big for her britches. And her mother took the door off the hinges and let her know who run this house. Like, you're not in charge of nothing around here. I didn't see what the big deal was. But the sister was very, very disturbed by it and very upset by it, to the point that when she showed up, baby, she was throwing lasers. I mean, lasers. I mean, even David's family was like, well, damn. Like, what's that about? Like, what? Well, damn. You know? And so I don't know. I just didn't understand what the big deal was, but okay. All right. All right, girl. So when Kim was having dinner with making dinner with David's family, well, no, let me rewind. When they were doing the ceremony, the meeting or whatever, where they went around the room to say what their concerns were about the marriage, it was interesting that all of David's family focused on him. Usually it's the opposite. The person who's there for the groom focused on the bride and vice versa. But his family very much focused on him. And one of the things his mother said was, I want you to work on your anger. I want you to get your anger under control because, you have anger issues and, you've been disrespectful to me in the past. And I just really want you to. And I feel like mama went there to deal with mama's issues, not the wedding issues. But of course, that just added fuel to the fire from where the sister was coming from, because the sister was already giving him the side eye. And that just added more fuel to the fire, that the sister was like, wait a minute, what? Oh, and he got anger issues? So, like, what's going on in this house? Like, what's really going on in this house with my sister and my nephews? I'm just not feeling it. So, when they, when they were having dinner, Kim did say that she doesn't necessarily agree with David's discipline style. Like, it's not something she's on board with, but, for the sake of the situation, they try to create a united front about things. And while David is having the Connect 4 game with the kids and with the sister lets it be known how she felt about, the door on the hinges, and she was upset about it. And David was like, but that's something that me and Kim decided together. Like, I didn't come up with that by myself. We talked about it and we agreed. So whatever the boys was doing, they felt was disrespectful enough that they would take the door off the hinges. And here's what I always find interesting. So now the sister was like, wait a minute, I didn't know that. She looked at the boys. Did y'all know that? Oh, well, we didn't know that. Oh, so you went running to Auntie to snitch on her about what was going on. And then come to find out, it wasn't a decision that was made in a silo. But I feel like what is going on in this house that the kids don't know that. Either they don't know it, they don't acknowledge it, or they don't believe it. Because it just was really weird to me that y'all going back snitching. And David was like, and later on in the episode, the sister said, yes, we came up with that together. And maybe our communication wasn't good enough for y'all to understand that, but we absolutely came up with this together. So, and it almost made me feel like, well, what are y'all doing? That they felt like they needed to take the door off the hinges. Now, the oldest son done moved out. Okay, he said that he done moved out, and the youngest son said he is just counting down the days. He is just counting down the days, because he is over it. Now, so they come back together for dinner. And like I said, the sister brings it up at dinner. And that's when, Kim was like, yeah, like we had that conversation and we agreed to it. And that's when the son was like, listen, I'm just counting down the days. Like, at this point, I don't care. I don't know why we're here. I don't think there's really any way we can resolve anything. I'm just ready to be 18 so I can get the hell out this house. Like, that's just how I feel. Well, I guess he is 18, but I guess whenever he can move, I don't know. Then the mother brings up her issues about his anger, right? And again, I don't know if this is editing or what, but it seemed like the mother didn't even give him a chance to respond. Like, she asked him a question. She talked to him about his anger. And the minute he got ready to open his mouth to respond, then she's like, I don't want to hear. Don't you do that. See, you getting mad already. I can see it in your face. You getting ready to say something now. And he was like, but can I talk? No, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. You've disrespected me in the past and you've never apologized. He was like, but will you let me talk? Like, you're not letting me talk. And Kim must know, because she's behind him, rubbing his back, telling him, calm down, calm down, calm down. Like, she must see it. She must know what it is. And so everything just dissolved from that point, right? So the next morning, they're talking to Tracy. And they're telling Tracy what happened. And Tracy is saying, listen, you need to resolve this issue, or not resolve, but you need to address this issue with your mother, because that is part of the problem and it's carrying over. And he was like, well, that's not what we're here for. He was like, that's a whole nother show. We're here about the wedding and with the kids, because his focus was on the kids. She said, but it's all connected. It's all connected. She said, I promise you, whatever is going on with you and your mother and y'all's relationship has trickled down to your relationship with your kids and now your relationship with her kids. It is all connected. And she was like, I really think you and your mother need to have a conversation. Would you like me to facilitate it? And he was like, yes, I would. And then she told Kim that, you need to go talk to your boys and let your boys know that this stuff isn't done in a silo. So he has the conversation with his mom. I am very familiar with this dynamic and within my own family. And the mother immediately says, he tells her, listen, you never came to, he said, I played sports and none of it meant anything to me. He said, none of the trophies I won, none of the awards I got, because you were never there. You didn't come to a game. You never came to any ceremonies. So all I ever wanted to do was to make you proud of me, and you were never there. So it didn't matter. None of that meant anything to me because you weren't there. And she said, listen, you were my firstborn. The happiest day of my life was the day you were born. You got to know that. I love you. She said, but I didn't know how to show it because it was never shown to me. She said she was 9 years old before her own mother even gave her a hug. She said, my mother never told me she loved me. She never showed me any affection. And so I was young and I didn't know how to give that affection. So I don't ever want you to feel like that I don't love you or that I'm not here for you. But, I only knew how to give what I got. And he said, that's why I guess, he would get nasty with her, or he would say, disrespectful things or out of pocket things to her, because I guess that was his way of expressing his anger and showing her how he really felt. And so they were able to sort of break those barriers down. And Tracy was like, and now do you see how that has trickled down to your relationship with your children and what's going on now with Kim? And he was like, yeah, I can see it. He was like, I need to go talk to those boys. And he immediately went to them and he apologized. And he said, listen, and the other thing Tracy told him was, you came into a situation and you judged it. And you immediately decided that this was not okay. And what they were doing it wrong. And you needed to fix it. Instead of coming into the situation, assessing what was going on there, seeing how they did things, and figuring out where you fit in. You decided that it was all wrong and you needed to fix it. And he was like, yeah, that is exactly what I did. And so he went and he apologized to the boys. And he told them, listen, I am sorry for what I did. I am sorry for my part in all of it, and he went to explaining the conversation he had with his mother and the connection that they were able to make with what he did and his growing up and all of that. And I felt so bad for his son, because his son was over in the corner, well, not in the corner, but his son was there witnessing this, and his son started crying and getting emotional. And he was like, I'm glad that he's figuring it out now, but he's figuring it out with somebody else's kids. He didn't figure it out with us. And yes, I love my dad and he did a good job with us, but I kind of wish that some of what he was saying, I felt like it was coming. I wish it was coming to me. And I was like, damn, I feel bad. I hope he saw that, and he in turn has since had a conversation with his children. So And the one thing he said to the youngest son, he said, what you said about just waiting out your time, he said that absolutely struck a chord with me. He said, because I left home 10 days after graduation and I never went back. 10 days after I graduated from high school, I was gone. I was in the military and I was gone, and I never came back home. So when you said that, it absolutely struck a chord with me, because I connected with that, and I don't want you to feel the way I felt, because I know why I did it and I know how I felt. And you know, the oldest son was like, I accept your apology, but you know, listen, changed behavior is the best apology. So at the end of the day, I hear you, I accept it, we can start where we need to start, but got my eye on you, bruh. The youngest son, I think, still wasn't trying to hear it. I think he was like, that all sound nice and that sound good and everything, but I'm not sure how I feel about this. So the next day, Kim checks in with her sons again and said, listen, last night was a lot. You know, you've had some time to process. How are you feeling? And the youngest son says, you know, I'm still not 100%. He said, but in chess, when you hit a stalemate, all you can do is start over. And so he's willing to start fresh. And that's the best you can ask for in this situation, is that they're willing to start fresh. And it was funny because I guess he plays chess with David, because as soon as she repeated it, David was like, yep, start over. So I feel like they sort of maybe have that connection. And when it came down to the ceremony, they all gave their blessing, you know. But this was actually a really interesting one, because again, you know, and Tracy brought that up, that we had some generational within the Black community. We just got some generational things that we've got to work out. I talked about this a few weeks ago. Funky Dineva did a video about unlearning. As a Black community, we need to unlearn some things, and I feel like this is a perfect example of us having to unlearn something. She parented the way she was taught to parent, and it wasn't good, but that's all she knew. So we got to unlearn some things, right? Anyway, I ain't about to go preachy. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop it in those comments. Peace.